What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, von Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah? Keep listening.
Hello and welcome into the Wednesday edition of your show. My name is Gary. I am your host, and I'm so thankful and grateful to be here with you for another episode of this incredible show as we continue to chase all the dreams in the world with all of our friends, and the big goal being making the world a better place for everybody. And we try really hard to do that, and I feel like we do a really good job. So we will continue to do that, and thank you. That's the big thing today. Just thank you for being a part of this. It's very cool. We had some people come through earlier today who are looking at starting a book club show, and I'm very, very thankful and excited for that because it was out of nowhere, and then it was a conversation. I shouldn't even look at you. I'm supposed to act like you're not here yet.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're just so handsome.
Aww.
So they came in with an idea, and now all of a sudden we're shooting on Monday, and that could be you. If you have an idea like that, you have a book club, if you have this thing that needs people to help it move forward, we are here for you. So thank you again to Les and Rihanna for coming by, and we are looking very forward to get that going. Also, a very, very big happy birthday to Uncle Mike. Yes, Uncle Mike is celebrating all day because it is his birthday all day long. You know him from the All That Angst podcast and from being around here, and mostly from his amazing all-natural products. Damn20 promo code still there if you head to Uncle Mike's unclemikesnatural.com. That's the website, I believe, and you go in there and you hit Damn20 on the promo code, 20% off your purchase. All of that. And it's his birthday, and here he is still giving to you. So be sure to support him, as he's another great, great dude that we love so much. And a very special happy birthday to you, Uncle Mike. We all love you and appreciate you greatly around here. Speaking of here, this is still the only live show going Monday to Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. on the internet, originating out of Saskatoon as far as we know. And always so proud to say that because no one else is doing it. It makes it very, very special. As Maggie's handler is slowly trying to make her way to the stage. Margaret, come on up, girl. Come on up. Oh, we got movement. We got movement. Come on. Come on, girl. You can do it. You're right there. Come here. Come here. This is why we go live. This
a little bit of diva behavior today from.
It's because she was playing. She was playing with Sully. She had a friend over who was an amazing puppy service dog, and the service dog had had the vest come off, and boy, oh boy, little Sully was just running wild. He was the best. Him and Maggie were just having a blast.
There was a time when Sully was my nickname.
Yeah, I can see it.
For reasons that don't really make sense.
Just because of the S and the S.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get to all of this, and we say it all the time, when you go live, this is what happens. Nothing's perfect. It's just real life, real people, real life. That's what we're all about here. As she almost got a spot, we can try this out. We are gonna now go to the 5-time award-winning Maggie Cam, and I'm gonna freestyle here. I got you. Hold on, Phenom, say hello. Phenom's the 1 and 2s. Look at that. Still just a hand. No one understands how it works, but yeah, here he is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy and proud to present to you the greatest camera in the history of mankind, the Maggie Cam. Taking a little breather on the putting green right now, girl. Look at her go. See, and that's like she's been getting so good at getting to her spot, but she's so tuckered out from playing today. This is where she's at. The Maggie Cam for our incredible friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street. They are your pet's natural grocer. When you walk through those majestic doors, Leroy, their greeting dog, he, just like Maggie, will take you up to see the people running the place. And then from there, Rochelle or Mike will guide you through your shopping experience, and it just keeps getting better. From the buckle-up collars and leashes, to the toys, to the pooper scoopers, to the treats, to the raw food in the fridges at the back, right next to the greatest cleaning station in the history of cleaning stations, period, and everything in between. Outfits, medicines, whatever you need for your pets, they have you covered. At Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer, even after hours and on weekends, they're still there for you. It's unbelievable. Thanks to Kirsten and Chris. They take care of you the same way Rochelle and Mike take care of you. That's how awesome they are. And they're open late. They're open on weekends. Anything you need, hit up our friends. We say it all the time, and we truly, truly mean it. We support the heck out of them because they are really, really good people. That's over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. Well done. I got my Brutus the Barber Beefcake shirt on today. That's my old, not my old cat, it's still my cat. I just haven't seen him in a while, as he's still living on a blackstrap, and I had to move here. But
Oh,
one of my favorite. He looks just like that, minus the gear, but it's a very awesome shirt. I
that's
love it very much.
fantastic.
Before we get to anything else, as it is Wednesday, that means it's the all the way around table day. You probably know who the voice is that keeps talking, but that's all right. We'll introduce everyone after. Before anything else, we have, as far as we know, again, see, we're always breaking down these walls. Hey, it's like everybody has a rider insider. Who has a rider outsider? We got a rider outsider, and he's back yet again to fill you in on everything that went down at Rider Training Camp today. Let's go ahead and roll that tape, Phenom. Day 4 of Rider Training Camp going down at Griffith Stadium. Thank goodness we got the best outsider in the history of outsiders that cover sports teams. His name is LB, co-host of The Viewing Room, head engineer and everything else around here. That's what this guy does. And he bleeds green.
Yes,
Yes,
I do.
he does. Even though he's an outsider, that's, dare I say, it makes you even more relatable because you're just like everyone else sitting in the fans watching what's going on.
By the fans, for the fans. That's our slogan
That's a
for the
good
new show.
catchphrase. 13th Melon coming soon. Very, very excited.
June 5th, we're launching first regular season game.
Gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Basically, while you got the game on the TV, you just put us on your little iPad or your iPhone or whatever it is, and you interact as we go, and we talk about all the plays. It's a lot of fun. Very cool.
And pre-show and post-game show as well.
No big deal.
Yeah.
We don't quite go 10 hours or so, but we go
No,
a little bit.
I think we're aiming for about half hour. You know,
Max.
when you don't have commercial breaks, it's you know what I mean. Like,
And not only that, there's only so much you can talk about.
that's true, right? Like
that's the biggest thing. And when you're true professionals like our bros in the Green Zone, who we love so much, shout out to the Green Zone,
Yes.
all the sport. When you're that knowledgeable, you can go for 3 hours. You can do 3 hours.
Yes, exactly.
That's the difference. So all the love to them and what they're doing.
yes.
First things first, how's my misery doing today?
Again, when he was out there, he was proving himself, but it wasn't getting as
A
many
lot.
reps.
Oh, I'm getting scared he's not going to make the team.
Oh no, he's gonna make the team.
Are you sure?
I would
like
would
that.
be
That's
shocked
a big
if he
statement,
didn't.
eh?
I would be shocked if he didn't. Like
Okay.
he's not. I don't think he'll be a starter, but he is definitely going to be on the team.
Well, that makes me happy. And Sean Bain,
He's been there practicing on the sideline.
he's hurt,
not-
hey?
Well, you remember he took that huge hit last year, and
Broke my heart.
he's not like quite ready yet. Like
Fully
he's working on the
recovered, yeah.
sidelines, but he's not ready for games yet. So
Okay.
he's there. He's just
Well, and in my head, that opens up a spot for guys like Misery.
well, that's the thing.
to
Somebody like that,
shine,
and that's
right?
but the problem is he's going to come back halfway through the season. So now you got somebody who's going to start the season as a starter and then get bumped to a backup. And
Well,
it's like,
if you do really good, you force your way in.
yeah, but they're going to want Sean Bain back
Oh, yeah.
as a starter,
Well, everybody
right?
wants Bain.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
So
So that's what's going on. Anyone else stand out today in the big practice? I guess.
again, Trent
Can't.
Penix. Again,
He's
I
really swooning you,
I
hey?
expect to see him as Olette's backup.
Mhm.
Joe Robustelli.
Oh, that's a fun name.
Yeah, it's a great name. He made a couple plays today that kind of were standouts.
And just me being like going back to the old days when we were all Rider fans and everyone had a food element to promote them, like Ventouse flakes and the such.
Oh, I remember those.
I
Those
figure.
are so
What is Rogatilli?
Robustelli.
Robustelli. There's got to be a pasta in there somewhere. Robustelli's
Yes.
rigatoni or something
Yeah,
like that.
yes.
We're going to start the campaign for that.
Yes.
We're going to try to get a food for everybody.
That would be great.
I think that's a good
Pasta's
goal
a
for
good
us.
one because
Oh,
cereal worked great, but pasta there's so many options and they're all the same
it's all
thing,
there,
just different
yeah.
shapes.
Exactly. We can even get them in the shape of him.
Yeah.
Like his uniform or something. Oh, that'd be good. Okay.
Little, remember like Alpha Gettys?
Yeah.
You could just do numbers for the players.
All the boys.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to brand some alphagettis too. I mean, why not? Well, you know what maybe we could do is get our good buddy Brad over at Smitty's and Bugsy's to maybe mix something up for us like that. Some
Yes.
themed foods. And
Yes.
maybe get that
I
moving.
remember my aunt. We used to always have a Grey Cup party,
Oh, yeah.
and my aunt one year when the Riders were in it, it was what was it? Whatever the last year they won the Grey Cup. I should know that. But
2013?
2013, yes.
Nailed it.
And she made this little cake. You know those little teddy bear cookies like the Teddy Grahams or whatever they're
Oh
called.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So she took made a cake and green icing, drew the the lines, and then she
Oh,
took
no
the little
way.
Teddy Grahams as the players and put the numbers on them. And
That's
yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into a lot more than just football, but it will be football-related things with the 13th Melon. Very excited there. What about, is Trevor Harris doing anything, or is he just chilling?
No, he's been taking a lot of reps. Again, now that we found out that he was playing last year on a partially torn ACL,
I still can't believe that. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
he should have won it. Did he win MVP? He should have won MOP.
He didn't know. It was Bo Levi Mitchell, the guy who led the team that didn't even make the playoffs.
Go CFL.
Explain that one to me.
Nailed it.
Well, no, he had the most passing yards, but
And you know what? Good for him. Everyone ruled him out, said he was done. Hey, and then was it Hamilton? And he went out
he
there.
was with Hamilton, yeah.
And he's slinging it again. So good for him. It's a good comeback story.
But he shouldn't have got MOP.
A guy literally was right there with all the numbers with half a leg.
Well,
that would
I
make
mean,
me
Roland
vote for him.
Milligan was my pick, obviously.
That was my
But-
next question. That's my guy.
That's last year. Trevor Harris this year looking good, and I've noticed over the last couple of days that he's been taking a lot of sneak plays. They've been running a lot of
QB
those,
sneak.
and he's looking a lot more mobile than last year. I mean, that was one of our biggest problems with him. I think last year is his passing game is good, but
Gotta be mobile.
his mobility, if the pocket collapses, he can't.
He's not
can't
scrambling.
escape.
He ain't
And
scrambling.
then this time he was taking some reps and he looked pretty quick. So
To be fair, he probably wasn't
pretty quick for
scrambling.
like a 38-year-old or whatever he is.
He wasn't scrambling because he only had one leg.
Yeah, exactly,
Again,
right?
Yeah, so it
And
makes
so
sense that
it
he'd be a
makes
little more
sense,
mobile.
and
yeah.
I like to see that. So I think he's going to be improved. Alette's looking good.
Nice.
Brett Lowther was kicking from 45, no problem.
Crazy.
The punter, Joe Couch, is the punter this year because
Nice.
Corsack retired.
Yeah.
So Joe Couch is punting. He's getting some really good kicks in.
Boy Joe.
Rob Vanstone, I was listening to the Green
The
Zone.
greatest.
Rob
I love
Vanstone,
Robert
they were
Vanstone
talking about
so
him.
much.
He was timing the punts.
Oh, hell yeah. Hang time, baby.
Like 5-second hang time on some of
That's
those.
what I'm
So,
talking about.
yeah, and there was one punt that I was watching it, and it was just beautiful. He was from about the 40, punted, and it was like about 2 yards in front of the end zone and about 3 yards in from the side. It was just beauty.
You know, it's fun when punters get some love.
Yeah.
They never get any love. And
You only get hate when they screw it up.
yeah.
Right?
And
Same
that's
thing
the
with
thing.
kickers.
Yeah, you need to support your kickers and your punters.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So it's nice to see that. Anyone else stand out for you? Any other names out there?
The two guys, so the roster cuts happened.
Oh, the
they
two
had
guys
to-
got in the
they had
fight?
to- they had to get cut down to 75
Okay.
last night. The two guys that got into that fight, one, Justin Jefferson, was cut. The other is on the suspended list. So,
There you go.
so they dealt with that pretty quickly, and
Coach Mason.
I'm happy with that. with
Coach
that
Mason
decision.
having none of that.
Nope, and I'm happy with that. That's a change. Like, I mean, like I said, discipline problems have been huge with this team in the
That's it.
past, and so he's
Nip it
turning
in
that
the bud.
around.
Yeah. I was telling my dad today when I was visiting with him that in the old days, that's what you wanted in camp. Like training camp was all fights. Like that's all people did. If you weren't fighting, you didn't want it bad enough. That was the stance that coaches took. Now the game's changed so much that, yeah, you're supposed to be teammates. You can't be doing that. It's just like, it was a weird transition because we were talking about how that used to be a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, nah. I don't know if that's because they're so undisciplined. Maybe that
I
plays
think the
into it.
control has become less of a thing. I don't know. I mean, you could also relate that to society in general. Just
Yeah, that's what I was
less
getting at, I
less
think.
control, self-control.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, going way too deep. We better call it here.
Yeah.
Day 4 in the books. Go Riders. Go host of the 13th Man. Co-host of 13th Melon.
13th Melon.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got to get used to that. Co-host of The Viewing Room and head engineer, producer, everything around here. His name is LB. Thank you so much, buddy. Always appreciate it, and looking forward to when's the next cuts? Do we know yet? Not this week, is it?
It's
This
it's
is why
late
he's the
May.
rider
It's late
outsider.
May. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I can't remember exactly now, but
Okay, so these
they
guys got
got a
to the
while.
first
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. He's filling us in every day from camp over at Griffith Stadium. Always appreciate the one and only rider outsider, as far as we know in the business. Thank you so much, brother. Always appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Well, maybe not, but
We'll
we'll
see.
see.
There he is. We always love when LB stops by and gets us all caught up on a rider training camp. This is your show, the Wednesday edition. Around here, we call it the All the Way Around Table. And the reason we do that is because we have a guest who joins us from all the way around the world. And we also have a bunch of other co-hosts that do it with us, including the man sitting right beside me right now. You heard him talking earlier. You know him as the guy that was there for staying wild, wrote 2 episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Simon Hyatt. Woo!
Hello, gang.
So much
Sorry, I
fun.
can't keep my mouth shut when you're opening the show.
No, it's perfect.
Always come up with things to mention. Sorry.
I always love that because it's what differentiates us from everyone else.
Right?
We say it all the time. You got to be different if you want to stand out.
The lack of filter.
Here we go. Speaking of, coming in, our final member for today hey, Uncle Mike, as we have no Coach, 2, we have no Curtis Avatar Anderson, but we do have our guy. Possibly, I'm thinking the odds of him being in the al fresca are pretty good here today. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. All the way from Melbourne, Australia, it's Coach number 1.
Hey,
that's not
go
al
Berries.
fresco. You look
I
cold.
loved Gary's
Are you
Gary's
cold?
reaction.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
You look like you're freezing, man.
It's fresh today. I think it was 9 degrees, and we've had some really warm weather. And this morning, when we went out for the exercise, was a little bit fresh, so had to put the jumper on.
Looks good,
I
man.
loved your reaction when I came on. Gary's like, "Oh, he's not in the al fresco." So,
At least I'm saying it right now, right?
oh, you're getting closer. Yeah.
I always, in my head, I always say Al Maisie Fresco. So it's the Al, take out the Maisie Fresco. Al Fresco.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I try to. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's one of my reminders. How have you been, old friend? We missed you last week.
Yeah, a little bit of work on. So I was traveling out in Adelaide, but it was a great trip because I was staying at a place called Glenelg. So I think it's kind of the touristy place to go. Beautiful beaches. And I was outside walking down the streets, and they had this American candy shop. And
Jackpot.
this is what I picked up.
Oh, you
That's
sent
the
a
picture.
Yeah.
See, I had some of that in the house. It's incredible. I was eating it with a spoon. I ordered it online. I had no idea it existed. I ordered it online. Have you tried it yet?
Oh, yeah. I had no idea it existed either. And so I thought, I'm going to grab 2 of them.
Yeah.
So grabbed them, went up to pay, and on the thing it said $12. And I go, oh, that's not too bad, $6 a pop. But they were $12 a pop. So
Hey, importing isn't cheap, right? That's what they keep saying.
We had very
That's
similar
right.
experiences, Coach. Last week I had to miss the show as well because I was also in a beautiful tropical destination, Esterhazy, Saskatchewan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
And what was going on in Esterhazy?
I'm not sure I can even talk about it.
Oh,
It's
okay. That's it.
might be related to
That's
that
it.
thing you talked about a little while ago,
That's
but yeah, it's let's just say I was in
Esterhazy.
Esterhazy, Saskatchewan,
That's it.
and there were ticks.
Oh no!
So many ticks.
Don't say that.
I don't
Yeah.
think I brought any with
That's okay. Maggie, she's pretty good at just not getting ticks on her.
at having an insane amount of fur.
That too, yeah. And I don't
Yeah.
take her into any places where there's tall grass.
That is good.
I
good
try very
approach.
hard to avoid it. So that's something to be aware of as it is tick season. It is also baseball season, you guys. And just staying so true to form. The old fellas at baseball headquarters decided, you know what? I guess we made a real big mistake. We're going to totally fix it and make everyone happy, as they have allowed both the great Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson into the Hall of Fame. Is it officially into it, or what's
They're not into the Hall of Fame. They've been
Eligible?
removed from the ineligible list, so now they can be considered to be voted on for Hall of Fame selection, and that'll happen. It'll go to what they call, I believe it's the Veterans Committee, which next meets in December of 2027.
Even when I'm trying to build them up and give them a little bit of credit, it's still just like, what are you guys doing? Like, I thought this was okay. They're going in. Like, we all realize they're, like, you're looking at 2 of the greatest players in the history of the sport. Made some mistakes, clearly. Shouldn't have it affect anything. When you walk into Cooperstown, you should see those names.
Now, here's where I'm going to disagree with you, Gary.
Here we go. Let it begin.
Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. This Pete Rose story, the accomplishments he had, 4,256 hits.
Oh.
That story is told in the Hall of Fame
Is that
in
sort-
Cooperstown. There is a display there. You can go and learn about Pete Rose.
Is there-
He's already in there. He is just not enshrined as an inductee.
Is that like a reverse asterisk? Is that what we're looking at?
No, it's people say that you can't. How can you tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose? Hey, they've told the story of baseball. Pete Rose is in there. You can go and learn all about Pete Rose as much as you want, and shoeless Joe Jackson. You just can't go see their little plaque because they don't have one,
Okay.
and I
Well, that
don't
sort of
know that I
changed.
think they should. But
That changes. Well, and this is exactly why I love what we're about to talk
Yeah.
about, because we can have that conversation.
absolutely.
Coach number one, your thoughts on eligibility being returned to two of the greatest to ever play the game?
I thought it was interesting what Manfred said about why. So he talked about, well, now that they're passed away, like Pete Rose has passed away, he can no longer bring the game into disrepute. And I thought, that's interesting. Like, was he still bringing the game in? And it's Shoeless Joe Jackson. He's been dead for a while, hasn't he?
74 years or something like that.
So, anyways, I thought that was interesting, but I think it's a good step. You think of Shoeless Joe Jackson. Was it 1919
Correct.
when this
That was
happened?
the World Series year.
That
That
is
was the one and only
160
time
years
he
ago.
threw baseball games. There were other times when he
The only time.
What's the only time he got caught? Is that what we say?
Well, I think we all, understandably, our understanding of that situation came from the movie Eight Men Out and maybe a little bit from Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
And the players kind of get portrayed as, oh, they were the hard done by and the owners screwed them over, which is probably fairly true. But these guys also repeatedly took money from gamblers, not just in 1919, but there's also evidence it happened in 1920 after the World Series.
Mm.
And, the guy, John Cusack's character, if people have seen Eight Men Out, Bucky Weaver, was like, oh, shucks, I didn't do it. I hit 900 in the... Yeah, he was throwing games and stuff. But I understand why you have to do things for dramatic purposes. But these guys aren't quite as innocent as they were made out to be.
I'm scared that you're going to sway me from my very strong opinion.
No,
that
this
we
is
should
great. Let's
never-
argue.
This is because that's something. Just in case you're wondering what we're talking about at home, the allegations of betting and gambling on the
Mhm.
games and throwing the games for cash, not just any games, World Series.
World Series 1919
Yeah.
between the White Sox and the Reds. The White Sox were heavy, heavy favorites. Just an amazing regular season. Gamblers, led by a mobster named Arnold Rothstein,
There it is.
got together and pitched a plan to the players. 8 different players throw the World Series. They're going to bet like crazy on the Reds to win. And, that's the thing about this whole saga. I could spend an hour just talking about the Black Sox scandal, which is what they call this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, but I could. So that's basically it. The gamblers bet on the Reds to win, and eventually the 8 White Sox players got banned from baseball.
Okay.
And it's what led to baseball actually having a commissioner. That was when they brought in a guy named Kennesaw Mountain Landis, and he's the guy who ruled. Like, the court case itself was crazy. Here I go. I'm starting it again. They signed confessions. The confessions disappeared.
Uh-oh.
It's like, hey, confessions are gone. We'll just keep on playing baseball.
Yeah, don't
And
worry
Kennesaw
about
Mountain
that.
Landis said, nope,
Yeah.
you're not playing baseball because you get sorted with gamblers. You threw the World Series. You're out.
So up until that point, there was no need for a commish.
Yeah.
I see.
Gambling was rampant in the late 19th century,
Dude,
early 20th century. It was crazy.
I'm telling you, it's probably worse today. I really feel like it really is.
Maybe.
And that's another whole nother show there.
Exactly.
But there's so much.
There's so many rabbit holes we could go down.
Real quick, just want to throw this out there: a 1.8% chance of the Dallas Mavericks to get the first overall pick in the NBA draft lottery. The same
God.
Dallas Mavericks that
After
traded
making
away.
the worst trade in the
Mhm.
history of professional sports.
Mhm. All of a sudden, oh my goodness, can you believe Dallas has won the lottery? I had a group chat with a couple of my good buddies saying, this confirms it. It's always been a joke that my grandpa always used to make was the mob runs everything. So if anything was out of the norm in sports, it's the mob. Oh, it's the mob. It's the mob. But it's so, like, I can see where he's coming from because there's so many of these examples. And I don't, make no mistake, I don't think it's the mob anymore. I think the mob is like the guys that have worked for these guys. It's all this, just like everything else. I could legitimately see a road where it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, which horrifies me and makes me so sad because I want to believe in the true sports. I want my athletes to go and to do it out, but do it 100% legally. And I just feel like we've lost the assuredness of that.
Now, I have to admit, my NBA knowledge is less than my baseball knowledge. And as the Rattlers play-by-play guy, I live somewhat in constant fear that people want to come up and start talking about the NBA to me because my knowledge is a little bit limited. What would the NBA have to gain from fixing it for Dallas? Or whoever fixed it, say.
Yes, whoever's doing it. So you got a team that had the best player, arguably the best player in the league, made a trade for obviously not enough. And I feel like what you gain from that is making it okay. And for me, this is all just alleged, of course. For me, I feel like the Mavericks were forced into that deal by someone up there, because how else could you explain what you got in return? And just like you're talking about the best, arguably, player on planet Earth, and it has been for a while, and you're going to the team that everybody wants to see win all the time in the Lakers. They're sort of like America's team, right? They're sort of like the Cowboys. So you're amping that place up, and if you do that, we'll make sure we'll make it right down the road, type of thing. That's sort of where I'm coming from.
What I've found with the way things are in the world, general, broad perspective, this has made me be less of a conspiracy-minded thing.
That's what I need right now.
Because there's so many people that are looking for the conspiracy in everything.
Yep.
Certainly some conspiracies exist. The vast majority do not, and it's just sometimes things happen. There are coincidences, and if you have a 1.8% chance, that every now and then that's going to hit.
Absolutely, and I do get that, and I hope that you're right, for sure. Coach number one, what are your thoughts on all of this? You think who's responsible for the whole, I guess we'll go back to the Shoeless Joe and all of that. You think it was justified like our friend Simon does here?
I like where they've landed on it, but it made me think again of the Houston Astros.
Ooh, bang those cans.
Where which cheating is allowed.
Yeah.
So obviously gambling, a couple people have been made examples of, but it just made me think about the Astros and how it's clear. Like I think one of the players was talking about it recently, how they, we know we did the wrong thing and that sort of thing, but how come no players were punished by that? That is that's where I went to right away. It's like, yeah, okay, those guys did that. They got caught. That's great. They served their penance. Now they're going to have the opportunity to be put back in. But why weren't the Astros players? How come none of them were held responsible? Oh, it was Alex Cora on one of the Netflix. That's what it was. He talks about that. He just talks about how mistakes were made and he bore the brunt of it. But he owned that responsibility.
Yeah. How long
I don't understand how the players got away.
One full year. And I think the reason that was given at the time is that to make the case to prove this, they needed the players to testify and explain what happened. And the players said, okay, we'll do that. You have to give us immunity.
Smart.
And I mean, they're backed by the strongest players association in professional sports. And if they had said, okay, yeah, you got to tell us what happened and you might get suspended, they're going to say, well, nothing happened. What are you talking about? We just like banging garbage cans.
part of our team spirit.
Yeah.
And that whole thing too. That's a very, very good point about how the one guy's the fall guy and everyone else just got to walk away fancy free. Baseball, and I've said this on this very show numerous times, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. The tradition is so rich, not just with stats and history, but also with guys finding ways to cheat. I said it all the time, Coach. One of my biggest assets for our Cardinals team growing up was I could read signs. I could see guys, I could see what's happening. And if you're a guy sitting on the bench and you can have that sort of vision to go to coach, say, hey, by the way, if they're doing one of these, he's going. And then to put that into effect, it was contributing to the team. It wasn't, cheating in any way. You were helping your team succeed. It was literally a skill that I assume if you were a good ball team, you had guys doing that, right? Like you should be able to pick up, you shouldn't be able to, but you should be able to try to pick up anything and everything and put it on the other team to say, well, hey, if you don't like it, make your signs better. Don't go top first because everyone does it. You know what I mean?
It's all a matter of degree. I mean, where do you draw the line of what is acceptable levels of cheating? And I'm by and large with you. Stealing signs and relaying them, and I'm okay with that.
And having something electronic.
That's where I start. I think that falls on the other side of the line. Having a camera and banging a garbage can, I think that falls on the other side of the line.
And not only that, being dumb enough to realize that if you're socking a walk-off and you're coming home, don't tell guys to don't open my jersey.
No, it was his tattoo. He didn't want to show his tattoo. Didn't you hear, Gary?
Like, be aware. If you're cheating, be smart with it. That's my point. Is baseball teams have done it forever. They're just smart about it because it's a part of the game.
But I think we're kind of talking about different things, like cheating within the game,
Yeah.
trying to gain an
for
edge
sure, for
within the
sure.
game
Like I said,
is
if you're-
significantly different
if you're
than
banging
consorting
garbage
with
cans in this-
gamblers.
yeah. Yeah, there's levels, like you say, for
Yeah.
sure.
And gambling on baseball and on games in which he managed, which he only admitted to sell books later on. So Pete Rose gambled on baseball. He gambled on games that he managed, which I think is orders of magnitude worse than just betting on baseball, because then, of course, it's, well, how are you managing that bullpen then, Pete, if you got money against the
Yes,
Reds?
but
Oh, here we go.
but did he bet on? My understanding is he bet on his team to win.
That's what he says.
That's the narrative for sure. That's what everyone, because I thought the same thing.
Sure. Yeah, and if you believe that, well, maybe it's true. I don't think it's true.
See, now we're getting a little conspiracy.
I thought you were going to say
again.
something else. If you believe that, AJ. Anyway.
But the other
Kick
thing
rocks.
we have to keep in mind with Pete Rose, okay, here's where I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. This whole thing, this is a Hall of Fame issue. The Hall of Fame has abdicated their responsibility. They put in what they call the character clause, which is if people aren't of high character, they shouldn't be going into the Hall of Fame. But then they set no parameters for what that means. They abdicated that decision to the sports writers, the members of the Baseball Writers of America, who actually vote for who goes into the Hall of Fame. So it's just like, okay, now you guys get to decide who falls on which side of the line. Like, I mean, it's kind of crazy to me. Well, first of all, briefly back to Pete Rose. If you don't know, he also committed statutory rape.
That's a character clause right there.
I mean, that's worse than fixing baseball games and betting on baseball.
I've never once heard that.
Yeah, it's
See, this is what I mean. Like they guard it so well.
Yeah, this is pretty. He was never convicted of it, but it's well established. He was asked about it, and he said, "Oh, that was 50 years ago. We don't need to talk about that." And there's a big debate now about, oh well, this girl, an actual girl that he was engaged in a relationship with. He was saying, oh, no, she was 16 at the time, and that's the age of consent in Ohio. If you're a 35-year-old married man with 2 children, it's fine.
Yeah.
There's a debate. Was she 16? Was she 15? Was she 14? For me, none of that
It
matters.
matters.
You're having sex with a
Yeah,
teenager.
this is not good.
And that by itself should keep you out of the Hall of Fame. But
and this sort of speaks. I think we can all agree that no one ever thought that Pete Rose was a good human.
No.
Can we all agree on that, Coach One? Yeah.
Debatable. Yeah.
So, and then that goes to the whole conversation of, are you voting for them on the field only, or is everything else coming into it? And that goes back to the whole steroids thing and the asterisk stuff. It's all about how do you separate on the field and off the field.
Yep. And that's why I think probably the best thing the Hall of Fame could possibly do is get rid of the character clause. Just make it entirely about, were you a good enough baseball player to make the Baseball Hall of Fame? That way you get in your steroid guys, you get in your Pete Rose. Because otherwise you're really having to parse who is good and who is bad, and where do you draw the line, and where do people like Andrew Jones, who is, credibly accused of abusing his wife, or Omar Vizquel, who did some terrible things, although he probably actually wasn't a Hall of Famer as a player.
Robbie Alomar.
Exactly. There's so many.
There's examples.
There's currently a lot of really bad human beings in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube or
Now,
whatever the saying is.
Yeah.
Here's my question. What are the other sports like? What is the basis for their Hall of Fames? Because surely baseball cannot be the only sport with
bad people.
questionable characters that play at a high level that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and my understanding, and again, baseball is what I know, and I know far less about the other sports, but what I've, just from reading in the last 24 hours since this news came out about Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe and the other 15 or so guys that are now eligible, is that there essentially isn't morals clauses for the other Halls of Fames. It's just, how good were you at sport X? And if you were a good enough player, we're going to put you in the Hall. And
the go-to one for me has always been the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And it's, it's hockey culture. Hockey culture itself, as we've seen it numerous, and we're seeing it again right now. There's a lot of stuff that is just ingrained in it. And I'm sure a lot of the people in that Hall of Fame were contributing to that in some way. And I think what the big thing is with the Hockey Hall of Fame is you don't hear any of those stories. None of those stories ever come out.
Yep.
These are our heroes. Here's where they are. Here's why we're here. Here's why they're here. Enjoy them.
Yeah. And I think
And so maybe that's what the whole thing needs to be with
Probably.
with the baseball.
And then in that case, it probably becomes a pretty easy decision. Yes,
Yeah.
Pete Rose is a Hall of Famer because he was very good at baseball and we don't care about other things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. If that's what you're saying, then it's fine. But right now, as it stands, there's a character clause.
Yeah.
And if there is a character clause that is ostensibly supposed to keep bad guys out of the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose is one of the worst guys, and he should not be in the Hall of
There's
Fame.
so many layers to it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea it would turn into a conversation like this. I thought we were going to come in and I'd say, get him in. They're the best. He has more hits than anybody. You can combine people.
He
He
sure
still has more
does.
hits. The hits are everywhere. All right, we're going to take a little breather on this one, boys, as it's getting very, not heated, but very
No.
informational. I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying it. We're going to get this live read in as I tell you all about our friend Amabile Llorente. Live reads. Love these things. Oh, there goes my headpiece. No, it's still there. Thank goodness.
I can still hear you, Coach.
Perfect. Here we go. Spring into your dream home, as spring is here, and so is your chance to find the perfect home. With mortgage rates coming down, now is the ideal time to buy. Amabile Llorente with TMG, the mortgage group, works with multiple lenders to find the best mortgage for you, saving you time, money, and stress. Love that. Whether you're self-employed, a first-time buyer, or have credit challenges, he's always there to help with 24/7 personalized support. And the best part, his services are completely free. We love free. Plus, he'll continue to assist you long-term with refinancing, renewals, and mortgage strategies. Amabile Llorente, mortgages made simple. Call him or text him anytime at 306-370-5804. If you enjoyed that live read, if you think a live read like that would benefit your business, your organization, your charity, by the way, citywide food drive going on right now with our friends at the Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Center. Be sure to support them monetarily. You can also get bins to place right in your workplace, which is very cool, and all sorts of other things. Our friends Lori, Deb, Errol, Garnet, the whole team over there doing great things, and this is the time where they're the most bare bones, so we got to stock back up for the summer. Be sure to contribute and help out with our friends with the Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Center. This is the website, not the website, the email. The website comes next. If you want some help, let us know. Reach out. Just send an email to contact@dufferinave.com. That is the email. This is the theme song. You know, other roundtables, you guys, they've started to sing it and like join in, just so you know. No pressure or anything, but something to think about. On 3, 1, 2, 3, see you later. Email. Look at that. Simon's getting better.
That was a little slow. Sorry.
No, that was good. Dude, it's a little lag on here. That's what I always say. It's like when I'm gaming. Oh, man, the lag's so bad out here. Dufferinav.com, the email. We'll give that one a little wipe right there. And do not forget our Twitch stream. We've been calling it the Hansel of Twitch streams right now because it's so hot right now. Zoolander? You know,
Oh, yeah,
Zoolander
good
fans?
one. Yeah.
It's Hansel. He's so hot right now. Check it out. There's the Twitch right there. Boom. Twitch.tv/Dufferinav Media. As we're back on a Friday night, we are doing Final Fantasy VI. Uncle Brando and I, and possibly Phenom. Phenom, you coming? Oh, boo! Phenom's out. That's too bad. We're going from there. They were doing the voices for the RPG, which is pretty crazy. He'll be there next week. Okay, good job. He's in charge of the Twitch stream now. Him and Brando are running it. So
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Now, where am I gonna? I got to go right over you. You want to lift it?
Yeah,
Grab
sure.
it.
Hang
Grab
on.
it.
What's going on?
3. Yeah, do that on 3. We're going up. 1, 2, go. Pretty good.
Not bad.
What do you think,
Again,
Coach? One was that
another
okay?
That was not too bad. We're getting there. I hadn't seen the Twitch before.
No,
Yeah.
this is
I like
the
all
first
new
time for me
toys
as
you're
well.
bringing
Yeah,
out.
we added in the rotation. We also got. Can you see what that is?
Oh, what's that mean?
Phenom, do you have a headset on? Apparently, it's really loud in the headset. I don't know if it's going to be loud for us too. So maybe
Gonna
turn
dial
down.
it down
Turn
just a
down. There we
little
go. Whenever anything really cool happens, we go like this. Hey, we got a little air horn. There you go. Fun with graphics. As we're hanging out on the Wednesday edition of your show, it is the All the Way Around table. We got Coach number 1 outside of the Al Mazy fresco, inside his, I guess, his nook, his office. Office? That's the office, eh?
You call office. I call it a studio sometimes.
Oh, a studio, fancy. Very well done.
Mhm.
And we got Simon Hyatt here as well. And we're talking baseball as eligibility is the talk of the day. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson among. I didn't know there was more than just the two of them.
Yeah, so and I don't know the stories on a lot of the other players. It's all like old-timey guys with
Yeah.
names like Bobo and Cookie and
The
stuff like
best.
that. But it's the 8 Chicago White Sox that were banned from the World Series. Pete Rose and some other guys who did various sordid things. But no one's paying attention to them. They're not getting into the
That's
Hall of
it.
Fame.
So Pete Rose, we're going
Yeah.
to go back to that. What was the total hits? 4,200?
4,256, I believe.
And when you're living in a current world where 3,000 is the benchmark for immediate entry into the Hall of Fame, that's a lot of overkill, isn't it?
Like, you want to, yeah, 3,000 hits? Hey, you want to get 3,000 hits? Okay, go get 200 hits in a season, which is a big accomplishment. Like, that's tough to do. That's like kind of like high watermark unless you're Ichiro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do that 15 times and there's your 3,000 hits. Get another 1,200?
Yeah, nuts.
And that's the thing about Pete Rose. He was a very good player who basically through sheer will kind of made himself into a great player and just a complete unwillingness to ever retire. And the Cincinnati Reds just let him stay there forever and ever and ever until he got himself kicked out of baseball and banned from Hall of Fame eligibility. It's entirely his own fault.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm just learning now that like I always knew he wasn't a good person or a good guy, but I had no idea it was that extreme.
Yeah.
And for people coming up that weren't around when all of this was happening, it's a little bit jarring because I've always been in my head. It's like if the numbers are there, you're going in, and that was it.
And
now
I think
all of
that's
these things-
probably what the
yeah.
Hall of Fame should do, which is, what I'm saying. I think it's just so hard to make these distinctions. And, if we're saying that we got to get the steroid guys in, we got to get the gamblers in, people are going to be passionate about some and not passionate about the others. I don't know how you draw these distinctions. Let's just get rid of the character clause and just make it about being baseball. And we don't have to honor them as great. As the saying, the old saying I used to like was, "Heaven is for good people, the Hall of Fame is for baseball players."
So true.
And
Yeah, I'm with Coach One there. That's a good one.
yeah,
Your thoughts, Coach One. What do you think should happen in your eyes with Pete Rose?
The opportunity is there. You can't argue what he's done. I think that character clause is so subjective.
Yeah.
It just allows for if somebody doesn't like somebody, or if they like somebody a little bit, they're like, "I will overlook this." So I think, and I would look to the other sports and just go, what is the status quo? What is the standard? How do they approach it? I get that baseball could be different and go, what? But it's more than just being a good baseball player. But it's too subjective. I wanted to see the top 10 hits. Like who are like Pete Rose is number 1 with 4,256.
Ty Cobb number 2.
Simon, do you know who
course
else
he
is in? Let's say the top 5. You probably do, but
I'm sure Ty Cobb's number 2 because that was who Pete Rose broke the record of. After that, it's going to get a little hazy for me.
All right, number 3. So Ty Cobb number 2. 4,189. Then it drops to 3,771. Hank Aaron.
Loser.
Oh, Hammer and Hank.
So great. And talk about a guy on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Not
just
a
the
single
best,
bad
just
word
a
said
gentleman.
about him. Yeah.
Just a guy who had to put up with the worst crap during his career because of the color of his skin.
And just powering through it.
And somehow was able to do it.
Dinger after dinger. Each
love,
one.
Love Hammer and Hank.
Yeah, me too. That's a good one. By the way, Ty Cobb, also a really bad person.
But that's another one where it's like so much of that narrative has been kind of crafted by this one guy who wrote a biography
What is wrong
about
with my life?
No.
Everything's getting turned upside down
Ty Cobb
here.
wasn't a good guy.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
That's been hammered
He
into my
wasn't
brain.
as bad, likely,
Yeah.
as he was portrayed. Like if you watch that Tommy Lee Jones movie, Cobb,
Yeah.
that's
that
a
was-
pretty extreme exaggeration because it's
That was
based on
probably
that
where it
book.
came from, right?
He wasn't a good guy. He did
brainwashed.
some very bad things
Yeah.
in comparison to other racist baseball players from the South in that era. Was he significantly worse? Probably not.
Okay.
But he wasn't a good guy. I'm not saying, this isn't me saying,
you're
Ty
not-
Cobb, humanitarian, where's his Nobel Prize? I'm not saying that.
The fact you even have to say that worries me a little bit, but I'm with you. So number 3, Hammer and Hank. Who we got number 4 there, Coach?
So I'll read you the next ones because number 6 surprised me. But number 4, Stan Musial.
Sure.
Number 5, Tris Speaker. Number 6, played with
Albert
the
Pujols?
Yankees.
Oh, Yankees,
No,
you say?
Pujols is number 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 6, the captain, Derek
Jeter.
Jeter.
Wow, I
Hold
didn't know he
on.
got that high on the list.
Everyone always said that was one of the biggest knocks. Was it wasn't that good. He wasn't that good. He was just the
Yeah.
captain. That's worthy.
3,465 hits.
I would have
Wow.
never thought he had 3,000 hits.
I knew he had 3,000 because I think he hit a home run for his 3,000th hit. Like he
I
and
guess,
Wade
of
Boggs
course,
both did
yeah.
that.
No, okay, that's a really
Probably.
good point. I remember literally.
Yeah.
Was it like it was a short shelf to right or something like
Yeah,
that?
classic
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
Go
off
see
That
it.
field.
little league
Yeah. And
bull
that was hammered
crap
into my brain. So I
ballpark.
definitely knew he had 3,000.
Yeah.
Well, then what was the knock against him? Like any arguments ever made for him? Like the haters would always like people just hated Jeter so much because everyone loved him so much.
Yeah, I think that's probably the Yankees thing.
Okay.
People either love or hate the Yankees and love or hate him. And
let's make no mistake, these reporters that are the gatekeepers of said Hall of Fame, boy, oh boy, if you just say one bad thing to them, you're gone.
yeah,
They hold the biggest, longest grudges you'll ever see, and in my opinion, they're just as bad as the people that aren't getting in.
yeah, I'm sure there's been zero racist, spousal abusing.
Nothing but
Yeah.
angels there with
Angels.
those old reporters
And
row.
this is another point that I wanted to mention very quickly, and I promise I'll stop grandstanding soon, but not just immediately. Maybe another thing the Hall of Fame could do is, okay, we want to keep that morals clause. We want to keep that character clause because we feel that's important to who we are as the Hall of Fame. Great, fine. You now have to decide who falls on which side of the line. You can't leave that up to the reporters. You're the gatekeepers of this place. You tell us
Yeah, you
these
prove
people
it.
are eligible, these people aren't eligible. You can't vote for them. I think it's so many ways they've I mean, this was an institution that's been it's like 100 years old.
Yeah.
About I can't remember exact. I think it's a little under 100 years. I think it was the 1930s it was started. Of course, a much different world then. African Americans weren't allowed to play Major League Baseball at that time. Things develop, things change. If you're going to say that people can't go in because they are bad people, you have to tell us who the bad people are that we can't vote for.
Put it on someone, eh?
Wow, and you're onto something. So in the early 1900s, and this, like racism would have been strife. Black players couldn't play. That's the way society was. So is it those people's faults that they were like that? That's
Now
the
you're
way.
going- yeah, now you're going deep.
And we're getting a little bit deeper here,
Yeah.
and I'm with you. They're not condoning that one bit, but that's just the way the world was then. So does that make them
Sure
bad
was.
people?
I mean, that's,
No.
1920s, that's 60 years after the end of the Civil War. Slavery was still a thing 60 years earlier than that. I mean, the whole. Let's now talk about race in the United States because that won't tie up any time or get complicated.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Why,
think that
why are you
falls-
sweating all of a sudden, Gary?
I think that falls under our no politics, no
Yeah.
religion
No, I
agreement
think
that we
you're right.
signed. Yeah,
Yes.
something along there.
But you're absolutely right.
Can I
Coach.
just give one last point?
Yeah.
Yes.
One last point here on the hits. This is interesting. There's two players in the top 10 most hits who were not in the Hall of Fame.
Whoa.
So obviously, number one, Pete Rose.
Pete Rose, A-Rod?
Who's
Barry
the second
Bonds.
one?
Barry Bonds.
No,
It's not A-Rod?
St. Louis Cardinals.
Pujols?
Pujols.
Oh, he'll get in.
So he's eligible in 28.
Yeah, he's a first balloter, slam dunk. People love Albert. I hate the Cardinals. I hate the Cardinals with a white hot passion.
Really? Well, you're a
Albert
Cubs
Pujols
fan.
The
is
Cubs. Yeah,
awesome.
the Cub. Yeah.
He's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
He destroyed the Cubs so many times. I can still see home runs flying out onto Waveland Avenue at Wrigley Field off the bat of Albert Pujols. He's a phenomenal baseball player. He's one of those where it's people. They're going to be if he doesn't get unanimously voted in, it's a crime, and those people should have their writer's card taken away. He's a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, I think.
Has there ever been a slam dunk first ballot, like 100% votes?
Mariano Rivera is the only
was the
one who's
one.
gotten 100%.
Rivera.
Ichiro missed
Yeah.
by one vote last year.
And didn't Jeter miss by one as well?
Yeah, I
And those,
believe, or was it like 2 or 3 or something?
yeah, those guys are all just, they want to be the guy that said no, right?
I guess.
But then tell us who did it. Did they ever tell us who made those votes?
No, you have the option. You can make your vote public, or you don't have to.
Oh, they
and-
ain't making that public.
yeah, because oh my God, you
How
just get
dare
torched.
you? And see, and that's another thing. Like, man, when Enter Sandman would play, we knew the game was over for years and years and years. And Mariano Rivera is such a great pitcher to watch. but it's not lost on me, at least, that he's a reliever.
Mhm.
You know, and when you're a reliever, they always talk about how many relievers are even getting in. You know,
Very
that's
good point.
that's one of those things. And so for him to be the only guy that has
It
100%,
is weird.
it's weird, right?
It's weird that
Okay.
he's the one. You're absolutely right. I've
It-
always felt that.
Yeah, it rubs me the wrong way, and I don't know why, because he's definitely worth of it. Like, more than happy to give him that,
Yep.
award, if you will. But if you're going to give it to him, and you're not going to give it to the other guys we just talked about,
Like there were like something like 20 people who didn't vote for Babe Ruth.
yeah,
you
like,
know,
that's insane.
Of course, he was in the first Hall of Fame class, and I think people were, the ballots were probably being sent by Pony Express or something in those days.
A couple got missed.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so yeah, that's something to think about too.
I'll tell you who could use Mariano Rivera right now.
Oh,
The Toronto Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays.
yeah, poor Jeff Hoffman.
Oh,
In a struggle.
how disheartening was the last game against Tampa?
That was so rough. I was watching it live because I flipped, saw they were losing, and then I said, okay, enough of that. Then I went back, it's like, oh, they're coming back a little bit. And all of a sudden I saw it was tied. Like, what the heck is tied up? They got a chance here.
That was a crazy game.
And then I saw the bases were loaded. The next time I flipped back, bases loaded. I was like, oh, I wonder who's pitching right now. And then I look, like, it's not Hoffman, is it? It's like, oh no, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, right when I checked in, I want to call him a no name, but he's hitting 3 for Tampa Bay,
Was
so
it
he must be
Junior
pretty good. Yeah,
Caminero?
exactly.
Yeah.
Never heard of him, but he's hitting 3, so he's got to be good. He's probably
Top
one of their
prospect,
million top prospects. Yeah.
Very
And
talented.
this was like when I say no doubter, this was a no doubter.
Yeah.
Like the second it hit, I didn't even say a word. I just changed it, and that was it for me because you knew it was gone. Like he put it like way up there above Joe Carter's little chair, no problem. It was very interesting that this guy came in so hot, and
Yeah.
now it's just falling apart.
And now all of a sudden Jordan Romano's looking a little bit. Jordan Romano was like lights out today for the Phillies against the Cardinals. We're gonna have that discussion all year long, I'm sure. But
Is it overusage? Is that what we're looking at?
who knows? I mean, I think it's just one
Well,
of those
they
things where.
talk about that.
Well, what are your thoughts on it, Coach? Tell us how should we be feeling about Jeff Hoffman right now?
Well, I just think the Jays. Here's what it is. Like, if you ask Jays fans right now and say, "How are the Jays going?" Like, what do you think? I get the sense that they'd be like, "They're meh." They're 3 games out of first place.
Yeah. Now is
They're
that
3 games out of first place, but
that
they
testament to
almost get
them?
swept by the Angels.
Yeah.
They almost get swept by the Angels,
But they
What are
swept
the
in
Sweep the
Seattle, didn't
Mariners.
they?
Yeah, in Seattle.
and then they
yeah.
swept Seattle,
Yeah.
who had won 9 series in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're leading.
And then we come
the,
and knock them off. Then
the
we
West.
play Tampa, AL East rival. We tie the game up. Varsho hits 2 bombs.
So good
We
to
go
see him,
ahead, and then we give up 5.
Yeah.
Junior Caminero, by the way, 2023 played with the Perth Heat in the
Oh,
ABL.
get
cool.
out of
Australian
here!
baseball.
He's one of your guys. He's not from there, but played there. Hey.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a connection back from one home to the other.
Man, and that again, that thing was gone the second it touched his bat. Like
He
that,
hit
you can
one.
see that kid is good.
In the Dominican Winter League this year, and I think it was in like the semifinal, and it was one of those ones where he hit it, and it wasn't like right off the bat you knew it was gone. He knew it was gone, and it went dead center field. There's a center field wall in this stadium, which I'm guessing is 25 feet high. It cleared it by like 20 feet. Like it was one of the most impressive home
Yeah.
runs. And also one of the best bat flips ever. Like it
Oh,
was
yeah.
epic. It took him, I think they actually timed him. It took him 59 seconds to
That's
circle the bases.
amazing.
Dominican winter ball, so much fun.
I will say this: I saw a game in the Dominican
Oh, cool.
in the winter ball, and it was a heck. I think I told this story. Have I told the story about Manny Ramirez? You guys, have I not told you? This
I don't
story
think
yet?
I know this one.
Okay, we're gonna get this out there real quick before we call it a day. So I was down there, and a friend of a friend knew someone who was associated with Manny Ramirez's team, and so we were going to this game because one thing I wanted to do was go see a baseball game in the Dominican Republic, and we go to the game, and unfortunately, down there they don't sell you a can of beer, they sell you a bottle of rum. Yeah, seems like a good idea at the time.
Sure, absolutely.
So there I am sipping on my bottle of rum. Oh, I think I'll have another bottle of rum. It's like a 1 liter bottle, and you get 2 of those in you, and then you're having a blast, and it's a huge party. Everyone's dancing in the crowd, and every time Manny came to the plate, the whole place would erupt as they announced his name, and then everyone would go dead quiet. It was just Manny at the plate. And unfortunately, he didn't sock a dinger, but he had a sweet liner. Like it was for a double, like right center, and it was like the place explodes every time. Everyone just wants to see Manny do his thing. And this is post MLB, so that's like he's just living out his dream. And so, anyways, full of this incredible Dominican rum that I was drinking, the guy that we knew, he's like, "All right, come with me. We're gonna go around back." And so we go around back to the player entrance and where they come in and leave. And it's like all gated off and there's fans lined up all over the place. And my guy, he's like, hey, and they let us in and we go through. And so now I'm in there with like the media people and like the family and friends. And Manny comes out and I looked at him. He's always been one of my favorite players. And he comes out and he looks around and he must have been like a Lamborghini or a Maserati, like one of those like really nice cars waiting there for him. His valet brought it up and he's got about 20 steps from the door to his car. And without hesitation, the guy's looking for me. I'm already gone the other way. Like, Manny, I love you so much. And I went up and gave him a big hug. And he looked at me like, what the heck is happening?
Gave Manny Ramirez a hug.
Yeah. And like I call it a hug. Again, most people probably call it a shove. Like I got about like this, and it was just like nothing like crazy. But he's like, whoa. So I like sort of did this, like whoa. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Manny. I'm just a huge fan of yours. And he's like, no. And he started speaking in Spanish, I guess it would be. And so the guy catches up to me. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, Manny's here. It's Manny. He's like, yeah, you can't just go up to him. And the guy's like, no. And they're going back and forth.
He understood that it was Manny there. He knew that. You weren't surprising him with this information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, no, I understand.
Exactly. And
this is Manny Ramirez.
It's so funny to look back at because like I was just so in the moment and so excited. And Manny looked at me and then he's like, no. And then he got in his car and he took off. That was the interaction. So I got to touch him. I was like, I can't believe I touched Manny Ramirez. And then the guy says, yeah, you weren't supposed to do that. I was like, what was the problem? What did he say to you? He said, Manny said that he don't like talking to no Americans. No Americans allowed. And I said, well, I'm Canadian. You tell him I'm Canadian. And he was already gone. I was like, but I'm not American. So he wasn't even mad that I went up to him. He was mad that he thought I was an American in there trying to, like do whatever it is that would be done. When in reality, I was just a Canadian guy who was so happy to meet one of his idols. But still, I got
That's
to
a great story.
touch the shoulders. It was an incredible time. So I always tell people I got to meet Manny Ramirez. And it went exactly how you would have thought it went. Like he just straight up denied me. He's like, no, get out of here. Like, okay. It was.
When would that have been? Like roughly what year?
Oh boy. It would have been, let's see, 15, maybe like 2013.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow, like a while back for sure. But he was still very relevant. And it was like just like everyone was there to see him.
Was he on that 2013 Red Sox team that won the World Series? I think he.
Well, then it would have been after that. Then it would have been even more like 15,
so it was like
16.
It was at the year they.
Yeah, he was definitely done in Major League Baseball.
Because he hung around for a while, like played for the Rays and the Dodgers and stuff.
He had a nice victory lap for sure.
Wow.
I went to a game in Cuba once. I'll tell that story in another episode. I'm going to bring my jersey that I got at that game, and we'll tell that story in another episode.
I love that so much. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, 2021, he signed with the Sydney Blue Sox. So he was
Sydney,
supposed
Australia?
to come over here and play, and then he didn't end up with the league. And there's a few different stories. There's one that oblique injury prevented him from playing. Another one was that the ABL was, and we talked about this last time, was unstable.
Yeah.
At the time. And then there was another one that was reported by CBS Sports suggesting that perhaps there was a drug violation.
Oh man,
against the drug policy. So
yeah,
who knows what really happened? But he was supposed to come out here. So that's why I'm saying if he was 2021, I don't know how old he would have been.
Yeah,
but it was still pretty big news here.
It was. I think it was Santiago was where we went to watch him. I believe. I'm not sure if the team. We'll have to do some research. Maybe we can backtrack this story and really get down to when it actually happened. I'd like to know because, as you can tell from the story, I was a little bit hazy with all the details. I just remember wanting to get my big hug with Manny and him being, not this. And surprisingly, like back then, there wasn't, people jumping all over me, being like, hey, leave this guy alone. Like it was just all self-contained right there. It's like, no, okay. And it was all good. Phenom, you want to get Frankie going for us? There we go. All right, fellas.
Saskatchewan Rattlers kicking off the season tomorrow night. 7:30 p.m. SaskTel Center. You can get your tickets through Ticketmaster. You can tune in I will be doing the play-by-play.
Very
We
exciting.
have Husky legend Amy Prokop alongside
Yes!
me doing the analysis. Heather Morrison walking the sideline.
A couple Aiden Bowman Golden Bears right there.
Oh, very nice.
Just so you know. Shout out to
Bowman
the Bowman
sucks.
Bears.
Walter
Whoa.
Murray rules. Just
There
kidding.
it is. Go Rattlers. Who they playing?
Rattlers are playing the Vancouver Bandits, the team that you might expect to see Tristan Jass, the big basketball influencer guy. He came and was in training camp with them. Sounds like he probably won't actually be playing tomorrow. They're putting him on the practice squad, but that was kind of the big news for them. They're a very good team, though.
Hold on a
the
second.
Bandits.
There's a basketball influencer that's on a team?
Yeah,
Like, is he
he's like an
good?
influencer because he's like an incredible ball handler and like does trick shots
okay,
and stuff.
Yeah, so it's sort of like Skip Malou when he came in
Sure.
out of the NBA when he was
Yes.
street ball. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
this guy's got a gimmick, bring it in, see
Yeah.
what he does. Very cool. Post number 1. Anything else before we go, old friend?
Pretty excited today. We've got lunch with Adrian the Canadian, which is turning into a podcast. And our guest
Hey!
today is arguably the best female cricketer to play the game ever. Her name is Belinda Clark. She's the only female cricketer to have a statue in the world. So at the Sydney Cricket Grounds, they just unveiled a statue of her last year. She's joining me today. We're going to be talking about her story. Now she's created something called the Leadership Playground, which is leadership development for girls. So pretty exciting day for me to have Belinda and really just get to know her a little bit better and get some tips on how to be a better leader on
That's
lunch
so
with Adrian
cool.
the Canadian.
Awesome. Love that. I love when we get to promote each other.
Yeah.
This stuff makes me very happy. I love and appreciate you guys greatly. Thank you so much for another great edition of the All the Way Around Table. I will be back tomorrow with CTV's Matt Young and possible other guests. We got a bunch of stuff. Like this whole dream that we're living right now, it's starting to really pick up, and people are starting to come to us to do stuff.
Exciting things are
And
happening.
so it's very cool. So more on that tomorrow. Remember, karma's very, very real. Do good things and they'll start happening to you. I promise you. All right. Have a great Westerner Wednesday.